So today on Sancista Brujo Luis, I am going to make traditional polvos. Polvos is in English powders, magical powders that you can use in your magic. So you can see that I'm going to use these 5, probably 3 from these 5. You can see that I have a bunch of palos here. I'm going to use these to make polvos. Polvos are spiritual powders. I think in English they are called sachet powders or magical powders or whatever. So this is what we're doing today on Sancista Brujo Luis. So out of all these palos or sticks, I am going to focus on these 5 for now, make a short video just so you can get the gist. These are the palos that I'm going to choose, or I chose. The first one you see right here is Vencedor. Vencedor is known in English as chased wood, and it is used to conquer, okay? It is used as a powder to conquer and to control. Then we have Amansa Guapo. Amansa Guapo in English is boxwood. Amansa Guapo is to calm down someone who, like a rival, to make them calm, I guess. Then we have Raspa Lengua. Raspa Lengua is known as strong backleaf. Raspa Lengua is used often in powders against gossip, against malicious gossip and all that. Then we have Alejo. Alejo is used to remove or to banish. This could be used in hot foot powder, okay, or it could be used by itself. I'm just making the powders by themselves. Remember, these will be like a condiment by themselves, and then you can add them to your magical powders. And then the last one we have right here is Abre Camino. And Abre Camino is open doorways. Okay, so this is used to open doorways and all that. Abre Camino is known as thoroughwood. I think it's Florida thoroughwood. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'll put the name right there if I'm wrong. So Abre Camino is used to open doorways and pathways. Those are the ones that I'm going to focus on today, Sancista Brujo Luis. So I picked up these palos in Puerto Rico, and I can't, if you don't know how to work with palos or sticks, I recommend you get a folk magic book on various palos used in various forms of traditions. Palos are used, or powders are used in brujeria and hechiceria. Hechiceria is sorcery, brujeria is witchcraft, and they're also used in Caribbean traditions such as Santeria, Palo Mayombe, Voodoo, Hoodoo, Rootwork, okay? I recommend you get a book or a book to understand some of the palos. This one is called Ewe Osain. Osain is an orisha in the Santeria tradition. This is 221 plants, herbs, trees essential to the Lukumi tradition, and it is written by William J. Irizarry. Sorry if I misspelled that wrong. I've had this book for a while, so it's falling apart. But it gives you it gives you the name, scientific name, Spanish name, English name, the orisha they're sacred for, and some of the uses. So I definitely recommend you get a book such as this when working with palos. So traditionally, palos can be used, or the polvos, polvo is the powder, palo is the stick, but polvos can be traditionally used by themselves, okay, or as an ingredient, as a spiritual condiment to add power to another powder. Let's say you're making a crossing powder, a confusion powder, an open doorway powder. It could be added to, I guess, graveyard dirt. You've got to make sure you're using the proper palo, the proper stick. What else? Graveyard dirt or hot foot powder. You can use, when you make a polvo, you can use that to add to those formularies just to give it an extra boost of energy and extra power. But you got to make sure, just like herbs, you got to make sure that you understand the spiritual magical qualities of each stick to make sure that it goes with the formulary that you're doing or using it for whatever it may be. So put it this way, you wouldn't want to use, like, let's say you're making graveyard dirt. Okay, you wouldn't want to use abre camino. Abre camino is more of a blessing to open doorways. Okay, you wouldn't want to use that palo for graveyard dirt, or you wouldn't want to really use abre camino for confusion powder. Okay, because the energies would clash. Okay, so you want to make sure that the palo that you use goes with the formulary. It's like baking a cake. You wouldn't want to add pepper to a cake. Okay, you wouldn't want to add pepper to your frosting or chiles or something spicy. I mean, some people might like it, but traditionally, no. You want to add your sugars and your vanillas and your cinnamons and all that. So again, you got to understand the spiritual and magical qualities of your spiritual palos or spiritual polvos can be used in every form of folk magic, folk Caribbean magic. It could be used to dress a candle, to prepare a resguardo. A resguardo is a mojo bag as an ingredient within your resguardo. Again, it could be used to make other polvos. It could be used to dress candles. It could be used to dress or to as an ingredient inside like a voodoo doll, a muñeco. Or it can be used, the powder can be used to cross, jinx an enemy. Okay, so there are many, many, many ways of using polvos. Polvos again is powders. Palo is stick. So there's thousands and thousands of ways of using these polvos. This is a form of ancient magic. Okay, and I just want to show you how I make them. Now, you can find these polvos already pre-made in a botanica, which is fine. Some of them are of great quality. Some of them are not so great. Some of them, you can see they're mixed with sawdust and, you know, you got to be careful with some companies, okay? Some of them are good, okay? But if you come across a botanica that caters to Santeria and Palo Mayombe, you will find these palos. You can pick them up to make your spiritual powders. But again, many botanicas do already sell them pre-made, pre-grounded. Don't confuse this with the herb, okay? This is the stick, okay? Because sometimes you will see abre camino in the herb and abre camino in the powder, okay? But if you come across a botanica that sells the sticks, get the sticks and make them yourself. Give it your own ache, give it your own energy when preparing them. So I suffer from bad sinuses. So when making any type of spiritual powders or polvos or anything with dust, I recommend you get a face mask. Cover your nose, cover your face, okay? Here's a bag that I have of various masks. So please cover your face. So many of these powders you do not want to be inhaling, okay? So please, 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 I cannot stress this so much. Cover your face, cover your breathing area. Make sure you protect your eyes, okay? You don't want nothing flying into your eyes, and you don't want to inhale a lot of these powders. So please, I cannot stress it more than this. Make sure you have a protective barrier when it comes to breathing. Sometimes you don't want to inhale some of these palos, okay? Polvos. So for making my polvos, I'm not going to use the pestle, but I'm going to use a mortar, okay? And I'm going to use a guayador. Guayador is I don't know how you call this in English, a scraper? I don't even know. I call it a guayador. That's what we call it in Puerto Rico. If you know the English, I'll put the English name down there. So, okay, we're not going to use this. We're going to use something to gather your palo, so a big bowl or a big plate, and you're going to soak your palos. There's a reason why you want to soak your palos. So I'm going to start with Abre Camino, which is this one right here, and I'm just going to soak it. You want to make sure that your sticks are nice and soaked when working your palo, okay? It helps it so that when you are scraping the palo, the dust is not falling everywhere. It just gets heavy. So you want to soak this for at least 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the length of the palo. Some of them are thinner, so you can go a little bit shorter. But I recommend definitely 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes to an hour. And we're also going to have a cup to constantly be adding water, just a little bit of water to your polvo. And also, I don't have jars with me. I got to go pick up some jars, but have some jars and some lids and some labels to label your powders. Okay, so right now I am soaking my Abre Camino. I have a palangana. Okay, and I thought it'd be better just to soak the stick, completely submerge it in water. Now the palo will float. This is my Abre Camino. So you can put, just invent. I'm going to just put my mortar and pestle on my mortar on top of the palo so that it's completely submerged, and leave it there for at least 30 minutes to an hour. I want to make sure that I get this palo nice and soaked before I start grinding my palo. So before I start, you notice that I covered my nose, my mouth, and my eyes. Sorry, I'm using sunglasses. Just use any glasses, that is fine. And I want to make sure that my hands are covered. You do not want this powder or any powder in your hands. You don't want to get it in your mouth. So, place some gloves. Also, you notice that I don't have jewelry. I never use jewelry when I'm doing any magical or spiritual work. I like to have just my hands and place my gloves, make sure my face is covered. Now here's the plate that I'm going to use to collect my dust. And here is my guayador, I guess my scraper. I think that's what you call it in English. So sorry about that. Now this is my Abre Camino. Abre Camino is road opener stick. And if you notice, I'm going to use a small teeth. Now, you don't want the medium size. You want the small, okay? And you're going to start shaving in a diagonal, I guess 90 degree diagonal, I guess. Just keep shaving and shaving like if you were doing a pencil. Now here is El Abre Camino. You see when you buy them in the Botanica, it's got that flat cut. So you're going to scrape, and when you're scraping, again, you're going to scrape in that diagonal, making sure that you collect all of the dust in that plate, and make sure you're constantly wetting the bottom, wetting the stick. You want the stick to be moist at all times. So here I am just scraping it, and scraping, and scraping. This takes a lot of work. Okay, so here it is. This is what it looks like. It's got that pencil point. That's the large teeth. You don't want that. That is the small one. That's the one you want. And that's the medium. You don't want that. Okay, so I constantly am wetting my palo, my Abre Camino, okay, in my palangana of water. Save that water. Don't get rid of that water. Okay, and when I'm doing my polvo, the powder, I'm constantly making sure it's moist because I'm doing this outside. You don't want to do this inside. So you want the powder to be nice and moist, because if a wind comes, it's going to blow it everywhere. And here I am moistening up el palo, el Abre Camino. And after like an hour of scraping, see this water right here? Don't get rid of this water. This water is Abre Camino. You can use this for baths, you can use this for mopping, you can use this for cleansing items and talismans. And here is my palo. So here is my Abre Camino. I want to show you that I use all of it. I split it in half. What I'm going to do is sprinkle my door, which lives here by the broom, by the door. But anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash down this doorway and cleanse it. Okay, Abre Camino is known as thoroughwort, and it cleanses the auric body. We use the leaves of El Abre Camino or the thoroughwort to cleanse the auric body. And thoroughwort, it rids negative energies and it opens the pathways for prosperity. So I'm going to use some of this water just to cleanse and wash down my door to bring prosperity and abundance. Old school. So I do both the front and the back of the house. Now save some of that liquid so you can bless charms and talismans and amulets. Now making sure that this is Abre Camino. Remember, Abre Camino is for blessings. It's a benevolent wood, so you don't want to wash your doorway with a malignant wood, okay? Just letting you know that. And this will bring blessings and property, and it will open the doorways for abundance, open the pathways. Here is my Abre Camino. You can see that I'm letting it dry completely before I jar them. I want to make sure that I dry them completely. You see that my finger got a little brown from scraping so much. So each palo or each tree and herb and plant has their own magical and spiritual attributes, okay? Magical attributes that they're associated with that. So you have to understand what palo, what stick, what herb, what plant you're using for what, and use it according to its traditional, magical, and spiritual associations. Now here's my last bit of El Abre Camino liquid that I have some left over. Now I thought I had some Abre Camino Colonia. I don't. I have Agua de Ruda and Rompe Saragüey. So I'll just show you a picture of El Abre Camino. You can add Abre Camino Colonia to this. You don't have to, and this could be used again for opening pathways. You can use this to sprinkle talismans, to sprinkle dolls or amulets or talismans. You can use this to cleanse around the house. Add a few drops of this to your floor wash, and it's good for opening the doorways for prosperity and abundance. Okay, so you don't necessarily need the colonia, but I was just going to show you. I thought I had some, but I don't. So, okay, and that's your Abre Camino, and I'm just going to let this dry out and then jar it. You want to make sure it dries out completely. Okay, so here is my paste. You can see it's got water, but I have it just a little. I have it in a where there's a lot of sun, so that the water can dehydrate, and then I have that powder. This is the old-fashioned method. Okay, I'll be back when it's dry. So here's the old school way. Okay, you see that I have some water. The reason why I want the water is because I want it to be moist. I don't want it to be completely dry, because I'm drying it outside, and I want it to be heavy so that if wind blows, it doesn't blow it away. But you can see I did some more, and I'm getting my polvo, my powder. I'm going to do a little bit more, and then I'm going to bring it inside and leave it in a window where it will dry, where the sun will hit it. All right, so you can see I grinded some more. Always have water because the water will ground it, so it's not flying all over the place. And I'm going to place this into my other bowl. Here's my bowl, and I'm going to get this, first of all, that water in there. And I want to get what's in there also. You can see that right there. I want to get that all in there. Okay, you're just going to keep repeating this procedure until you get your powder. And here you see that I'm making more and leaving it. Make sure there's no wind blowing, because if the wind blows, you're going to lose a lot of powder. So that's why I use a lot of water to keep it grounded. But this is what you want. You want that paste. And what you're going to do is you're going to leave it in a windowsill where the sun is hot, so enough so that it could dissolve that water, because all you want is that powder. And so we keep doing the same procedure. You see that I add water into my mortar, and I make sure that the stick is nice and wet, and I keep doing that. Again, the wetness will make a paste, and you want to make sure that you dry that off. In a windowsill, I'm doing it outside. There's not too much wind, but if it's windy outside, don't do it, because you're going to lose a lot of powder. So you just keep doing the same procedure, sharpening it like if it was a pencil. Making sure there's water. It will absorb that water. And This is what it should look like. Now you can see it's drying out real quickly. And I just keep adding that to my plate till I get it all that stick nice and shaved. Always making sure that your stick is nice and soaked. And you just add more water, a lot, and keep doing the procedure of scraping. I'm doing this with 2 hands just in case. Now as you're soaking your stick, don't get rid of this water, okay? See that powder in the bottom? You can still use that, okay? So don't get rid of this water right here. This is the water that I keep adding to my mortar pestle to keep wetting it, but don't get rid of this water. I added a lot of water here, but you can see, let me get a spoon. And you can see I got a powder, and it dries out very quickly. So you just keep repeating the procedure until you get your powder. So you see the water dissolves pretty quickly, and I'm finished 1 stick. I'm just gonna add whatever's in here into here. Make sure it's not windy. That's why you want the water. Very important, you need that water. It will keep it grounded. And then we're just gonna leave it in a hot window so it dehydrates. The water dehydrates, and then you have your magical powder. Now don't worry if you put a lot of water. This one I put a little bit too much water into my paste. Don't worry that it's gonna evaporate. This water is gonna evaporate, and then you have your magical powder. So leave it in a place, again, leave it in a place where there's no wind blowing, please. Very important, because you wanna keep this powder. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep it in a windowsill where the sun will evaporate all this water. So here's 1 stick, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, it is the noonday sun. So I'm just gonna let it, it's very hot outside, so I'm just gonna let this water evaporate the best as I can. Make sure that there's no wind blowing. And when the water evaporates, you have your magical powder. This is method number 1, the hard way. So here is the powder, your polvo, nice and dry, completely dry, and it is ready to be used. Some people will add a bunch of stuff that is not needed. Some people will add oils, some people will add, I don't know, colors or whatever. None of that is needed. What you need is the stick. So let's say I have Amansa Guapo. Amansa Guapo is to control other people. Vencedor, if you have a stick of Vencedor is used to conquer, okay? That's all you need. All you need is the magical stick. You have to view these powders as like a spiritual condiment, okay? Not the actual magic itself, but a spiritual condiment or an ingredient that you add to other items to empower and to add that energy. Now, if you want to add anything into your polvo, there's one thing that I would recommend. You could either add harina de arroz, rice flour, which I'll add to this one, and I'll do that right now. You can add harina de arroz, finely rice flour, finely grounded, or you could add cornstarch to this one, and then the next one I'll add cornstarch. To this one, I'm just gonna add harina, rice flour, and mix it very carefully, and that is it. So let me add some of this, and just add little at a time. So here's my rice flour, and you don't have to. Some people use talc. I don't use talc. Again, rice flour or cornstarch. I'm just going to use rice flour in this one and mix it up very well, and that's all you need. And now you have, mix it up very well. So here is your powder, nice and mixed with your rice flour. Some people ask me, can you put cascarilla? I do not use cascarilla in my polvos in my powders because cascarilla is a very purifying agent. Now you gotta understand that polvos, they could have a benevolent and a malicious, malevolent energy. So they can be used for benevolent work and malevolent work. And so let's say the powder is for malevolent work. La cascarilla, being such a purifying agent, will purify the wood, and it will or make that energy not work for what you wanted. So let's say you were making graveyard dust, and you have dirt from the cemetery, pacholi, and you wanted to add palo de hueso, which is bone wood, and then you add a cascarilla right there. The cascarilla would actually purify it, and it will not work for what you wanted to use it for. So I would not use cascarilla. Now you can use the powder again as it is, or you can add the corn starch or the rice flour, but do not add cascarilla. And it is done, is ready to be bottled up. The following method is using a caldero, a cauldron, and what you're going to do is you're going to burn your sticks within the caldero. Here I have raspalengua. And what you're going to do, raspalengua is good against gossip and people who talk bad about you. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the sticks inside your caldero, and you're going to add agua florida, and you're going to burn them, and you're going to get ashes. Of course, this is not a powder, but the ashes you can put into the rice flour, cornstarch. Okay. Now, if you want to grade this, of course you can, but I'm just showing you another method, which is the burning method, which is what I'm going to employ in this section. So in this method, you're going to take your sticks. Now, of course, you can grind them the way I did. I'm just showing you another method that you do. And you put them inside your cauldron or whatever it may be, and what you're going to do is add agua florida, and you're going to light this. And what you want to get is ashes, which you're going to mix into a cornstarch, cornstarch, rice powder. Okay. And you're just going to burn this up. And what you want is the ashes of your palos. So this method, you have to be careful when dealing with fire, okay? And remember, you just want to get the ashes. And that is the third method, which is by fire. So you want to make sure that you get all your sticks. I'm using a metal. And when dealing with fire, please be careful. Always fire safety. Now you will know when your sticks are ready when you add your alcohol or Florida water. It won't stay burning for long. And that is when you know that your sticks, or now your ashes, are ready for the powder. See how it doesn't flame well? I'll add a little bit more, and it will go down very quickly, and that's when you know that your ashes are ready for your polvo. See how that goes down very quickly? That's when you know it is ready for your magical powder. Pretty much it's all set. And you can see, you can use this to crush up in a mortar and pestle. You let it get cool, and you can use this to make a powder. And this one I'm using is raspalengua, which is burning tongue. I don't know the name of raspalengua in English. So there are the ashes in my cauldron, and to this one I'm just going to add cornstarch right into the cauldron. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it, because I want all that real good. And you'll probably get some sticks, but that's why I brought my pilon, because you're going to, inside the cauldron, just mash it up. Okay, let me work on this. Okay, now you have your raspalengua powder. Now this powder, of course, you can sift it and get all that stick off, and this you would mix a little bit into other powders. Okay, so I'm just gonna place that into my plate and scrape as much of it as I can from the cauldron. And then you have your raspalengua powder. So whenever you're working with your cast iron, okay, make sure you always wash it right afterwards. Just use regular soap and a nice clean sponge and give it a good washing. Okay, always make sure. Then give it a good drying right after. You don't want your iron pot or pans or cauldron to rust. Then you can use an animal fat or olive oil or any oil that you want and oil it down so that you can season it and keep it nice and fresh from rusting. And it's nice and clean. So here's my raspalengua powder. This is a powder used against gossip. You can sift all that other stuff. Okay, if you want to sift these sticks, you can. And you can use this as it is or mix it into other powders against gossip and maliciousness. So you can get rid of all those big sticks. But that's it. That's your raspalengua. This is a more for protection, spells, and controlling. Okay, so that's your raspalengua. So now I'm gonna carefully put this into this jar, and there's my lid. And there you have it. And this is your second method, which is the burning method, which is more of ashes, but you can use these ashes to mix with other powders. Now lastly, I'm going to show you the easiest method. This is a palo roble. Palo roble is an oak tree, and I don't know why they cut it down. Honestly, I don't. But you see all this? This is good right here. Now you have a powder, and you can gather all this up. And I brought me a dish, but before I do, I'm going to pray to the spirit and pay the dryad or the spirit money. I don't want to take anything from it. So I place the money right there, and I'm going to gather whatever I find around here. So you can see I gathered, there's a whole bunch, and I gathered, I mean, there's fistful, and I can use this in powders. And palo roble is known as oak tree in English, and it's good for money, success, strength, fertility, stability, health, healing, potency, and for good luck. So I'm gonna gather this, and I already have a powder already handmade. I remember one time me and my godson were in a forest, and they had knocked down a bunch of pine tree. Now that's the kind of pine that has that resin that burns real good. Pine is good for protection, and I was all excited because I was picking up, literally, picking up the sticks like this. It had a lot of resin, and it was good for burning, for protection, and for cleansing, for removing negative energy. But look at that, already you have the powder, and this is the easiest method. And it's right there all. And if you know the tree, this is an oak, and you know what you're looking for, you can pick it up. Cover it up, and I made sure I paid the spirit and bring it home. Easiest method. So I'm drying out my abre camino. Actually, look at that, I got up a whole lot. But I just wanted to show you, look at that beautiful red brick red color that I got from it. Now I'm sure that after it dries completely, it'll lose some of this beauty, but it is gorgeous. So anyways, I'm just drying it in the sunlight, and I'll be back when it's completely dried. So here is my palo de hueso, or bones wood, and here, completely dried, they're both completely dried, is my abre camino. You have to make sure that before you jar your powders that they're completely dry, because you don't want to create mold. Any mold in your powders is no bueno. And then we also have what I collected yesterday, the roble. which is the easiest form. So now I'm just gonna bottle these up and end the video. So here I am doing the same thing that I did with the other palos, and you can see that I'm scraping Amansa Guapo. And when I'm finished, you will get this clumpy, looks like brown sugar material. It's going to feel moist to the hand. You want to make sure it completely dries. And here is El Amansa Guapo, completely dried. It's best to do this on a hot day. That's why we do it in a tropical cold weather, so you'll never get it to dry fast enough. So to end the video, I just want to show you that I have jarred all my powders, okay? I want you to just see what they look like. I pick up jars wherever I can. I recycle them, or I pick them up at a consignment store. This is my polvo hueso, which I made in this video. My raspalengua, which is the one that I burnt. Here is my Amansa Guapo, okay, which need to get a lid for this one. All my lids for my powders are back there. But this is my Amansa Guapo. I worked on that. And then I also did Abre Camino. Smells real good. Okay. Now this I didn't work in this video, but this is a mixture of different palos. This is Bendición Árabe. This is my own formulary, which is just a mixture of different, like I don't have the ones that I have to make this one here, but let's say, oh, actually I do. I used agar, which I did not make agar. Okay, I purchased that, but I mixed Oriental woods and Arabian woods to make this one. It's a powder for blessing. Okay, so I make this in this video. Anyways, and this one I purchased. So here you see, again, my Abre Camino. This got beautiful colors. A lot of people add oils and perfumes and pigmentation. I don't believe it needs none of that. The power's in the wood, and that's just the way I personally like it. I know that if you go to Botanicas, you will see, I guess you will see Abre Camino powder, and you'll often see it green. And you will see, I guess, Amansa Guapo often in Botanicas coming blue. I don't know what it is. I don't add colors. I don't add pigmentations. So I don't know if they're adding pigmentation or if it's a formulary that they use. I don't know. I'm just showing you that this is what they should look like when you just do them with the wood. Again, you could add oils if you want to. You could add your own perfume if you want to. Let it dry. I'm fine with it smelling the way it is. To me, it just smells very good, very earthy, and very woody. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Please leave your comments down below. And please smash that notification bell button so that you can receive notifications of when I do future videos. And I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Sancista Brujo Luis. Ciao. Bye.